Coming up today on RMU-Live, Pittsburgh police investigate the murder of a University of Pittsburgh student. A water main break on campus at Robert Morris University leaves the maintenance crew with a slippery situation. And an update on the construction of the Soul Center. All this and more coming up today on RMU-Live. Welcome to RMU-Live. Today is Monday, October 9, 2017. I'm Gage Golding.
And I'm Logan Carney. Here's what's happening now.
University of Pittsburgh police are investigating the murder of a student in Oakland. I was at the scene yesterday. At 8:56 a.m. Sunday morning, University of Pittsburgh police were dispatched to 3597 Cable Place for a 20-year-old female that was unresponsive. Authorities have not released the identity of the 20-year-old female that was found dead in the second floor of her home in Cable Place. Authorities have asked the Pittsburgh Violent Crime Unit to investigate the incident that they are calling a homicide.
I've lived here for about a year and a half and just never expect something to happen like this. I mean, it's mostly just college students around here, so there's been some, accidents with people drinking and falling and different things, but never something investigated as a homicide. I've never heard anything in Oakland or even, around the city of Pittsburgh, around the university.
The University of Pittsburgh did acknowledge the death and released a statement early Sunday. Quote, "The university confirms that a Pitt student has died and her family is aware. The Pitt police are providing assistance to the Pittsburgh police, which is leading the investigation. Please do not believe the situation which occurred off campus provides further threat to the university community. Our campus is saddened and extends its deepest sympathies to the student's family and those who knew her." End quote. The City of Pittsburgh Violent Crime Unit is investigating this specific case here on Cable Place. For the identity of the woman, we do not know that yet. We're waiting for that and details specifically about the student here at University of Pittsburgh to come out. Reporting from Oakland and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Gage Golding, RMU Century Media. Police identified the 20-year-old victim as Elena Shicott. Authorities are still searching for a suspect.
Drug and rehab founder and CEO David Francis is accused of selling heroin and fentanyl to addicts. The 65-year-old was dealing to clients in the Next Step Foundation in McKees Rocks. This foundation was created to provide recreational housing to drug addicts and alcoholics. Instead, federal agents say Francis was acting as their drug dealer. His home was raided this past Friday, and he was charged with intention to distribute fentanyl.
A fire destroyed a garden center in Fayette County Sunday. The fire claimed Cellular Garden Center on the 2000 block of University Drive, just down the street from Penn State's Extension campus, Penn State Fayette. Flames engulfed the entire structure before fire crews arrived. Authorities report that they are unsure of how the fire started, but no one was injured.
A mother saved her baby's life after pulling it from her car moments before a train smashed into it. The crash happened in Vandergrift on Saturday when Amber Lee Brown crossed through the intersection. Police say Brown failed to yield and another car driven by Rebecca Lee Jones hit the driver's side of her car. Brown was able to free the child and both sustained only moderate injuries. A Bethel Park couple, Leanne and James Foreman, is asking local authorities to take extensive action to stop alleged harassment from their neighbor. Court records show the woman goes by multiple names, including Pamela Lotta, Pamela Medley, and Shelley Wallace. The Foreman said that they are afraid to leave their home after the actions taken by their neighbor in the past 2 years.
Lead singer from Beaumont and the Skyliners, Jimmy Beaumont, has passed away. Beaumont was originally from Pittsburgh's Knoxville neighborhood. The musical group rose to fame in 1958 with their hit single, Since I Don't Have You. Beaumont was 76 years old.
Members of the Shadyside community rallied over the weekend to show disappointment in the Ellis School. Over the summer, the school decided to relieve its custodial staff in order to cut costs and hire new employees at a lower rate. Members of the community rallied around the staff in support to help get higher wages. The new cleaning crew receives an hourly rate of $7.75. Members of the Shadyside community feel this is not enough to live off of. Police are investigating a man who was shot multiple times in the Hill District on Sunday. Officers were sent to Webster Avenue around 9 p.m. after reports a man had been shot. Police found a 26-year-old man lying in the street with multiple gun wounds. He was transported to a local hospital where he was being treated for his injuries.
Pittsburgh police are now searching for a suspect who shot a pizza delivery driver Sunday. Authorities say the 48-year-old victim was shot on the 1700 block of East Carson Street in Pittsburgh's Arlington neighborhood. The suspect shot the driver and also stole his pizza. The driver was in stable condition at an area hospital. A man was killed following a head-on crash in Indiana County Friday night. The accident, which took place around 7:45, claimed the life of 66-year-old Dennis Mabon of Marion Center. Mabon was traveling on Route 403 in Cherry Hill Township. Police report that the accident occurred when Mabon crossed the center line and then collided with a pickup truck. The driver of the truck suffered moderate injuries. A third vehicle with 3 children was also involved in the accident. 2 children were flown to Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh with non-life-threatening injuries. A Pittsburgh woman is being charged after she admitted to being drunk while driving a vehicle with 4 children in it. According to police, Latrina Randolph lost control of her car while driving on the Parkway East inbound just near Oakland after midnight this morning. The children in the car were all under the age of 10 except for 1. All children were taken to Children's Hospital for evaluation. Randolph was taken to Allegheny County Jail and is charged with driving under the influence, endangering the welfare of children, recklessly endangering another person, driving while operating privilege is suspended, and reckless driving.
2 men and 1 woman were injured in a Uniontown shooting early Sunday morning at around 3:30 a.m. 2 victims were found at the scene, and the third arrived at Uniontown Hospital by private means. All 3 were sent to a local hospital for treatment. The conditions of each victim are unknown.
Pennsylvania State Police are asking for help in a hit-and-run case involving a bicyclist in September. The biker was riding on East Butler Road in Summit Township on September 27th when the 39-year-old man was struck by a vehicle. The driver of the vehicle fled the scene and did not call emergency services. The cyclist suffered a broken skull and was flown to a nearby hospital. Anyone with details regarding the accident are urged to contact State Police in Butler. In light of Congressman Tim Murphy resigning last week, candidates are already lining up to sign their name to the ballot. Republican Representative Rick Saccone has declared that he is dropping his race for the Senate and instead is pursuing a seat in Congress. Coming up on RMU-Live, a tornado touchdown in North Carolina.
And we give you an update on the Soul Center, coming up next.
Oh, emojis! I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you! She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze.
Help up the hand.
Ah, there you go.
Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, Jane!
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Want to help in the aftermath of a hurricane? Together, you and I can really help. I am fast and versatile. I can be whatever is needed. To help you provide important relief when it's most critical. If you want to lend a hand, I can help you reach out and truly touch lives. Even a small donation can make a big difference.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Tonight, along the Texas Gulf Coast, utter devastation. Harvey barreled ashore overnight, packing 130-mile-an-hour winds, blinding sheets of rain, and the treacherous storm surge.
Harvey can't mess with Texas. So donate now to help make Texas whole again.
Robert Morris University found itself in a slippery situation Sunday following a water main break.
Yesterday afternoon on campus, students were notified of a potential water leak impacting several facilities across campus.
Campus facilities made a repair to a broken water line on Sunday around 4 p.m. Water service was temporarily impacted across multiple buildings on campus, including the Hill Center, Colonial Village, Massey Hall, Lafayette Center, and the School of Business.
Now, it is currently unclear what caused the pipeline breakage, but water was restored to the facilities across campus just a few hours later. Reporting for RMU Century Media, I'm Nick Miller.
Logan, let me tell you, that could have been some scary stuff.
You're right, Gage, it could have, but let me tell you something about that is not that scary. Construction on the Soul Center has started. For more on the Soul Center, here is Malik Johnson.
I'm here inside the Soul Center, which was supposed to be torn down after commencement last semester. After being met with multiple delays over the summer, construction didn't begin until last Monday, October 2nd.
Sections of the lower Sewell parking lot were blocked off as construction crews dug up concrete. Deconstruction of the upper Sewell parking lot began later that week. The lower Sewell parking lot is traditionally used for students who live in Yorktown and Braddock Halls. After being delayed multiple times, the new Student Recreation and Fitness Center had its soft opening on September 27th. The first floor fitness rooms and the gymnasium were made open to students. Since then, the women's volleyball team has won 2 games against Sacred Heart and Farley Dickinson in the new gymnasium.
No information has been provided on how the delays will affect the construction of the UPMC Event Center, which is predicted to be finished in late 2020. Reporting live for RMU Century Media, Malik Johnson.
For more updates on the new Event Center and coverage around the Pittsburgh area and Robert Morris University, be sure to visit RMU-centurymedia.com. According to the National Weather Service, a tornado touched ground in western North Carolina about 10 miles southeast of Morganton. It was confirmed to touch down at about 5:30 on Sunday. A tornado warning had been issued for parts of the Wilkes, Watauga, Ashley, Catawba, Rutherford, Lincoln, Cleveland, and Burke counties, but the warnings have since expired. There are currently no active tornado warnings in North Carolina.
Logan, we're in the depths of hurricane season, and there is a new storm on the map.
There is, and let's go over to Morgan, and she's going to give us a little bit of information about this new storm. Morgan?
Well, the storm that's in the U.S. right now began as Hurricane Nate, and it began down in Mexico and down in Central America, and then it made its way up north. And whenever it was down in Mexico and Central America, it left 22 dead. But thankfully, as it's been making its way through the Gulf Coast and through America, it hasn't had any loss. Currently, it's making its way towards Ohio, and with it, it's bringing heavy rainfall and wind, but it's not as high as it was down in the Gulf Coast whenever it made landfall. There's flood warnings along the whole Appalachian region, and they can be expected to see rain within this week. Back to you, Gage and Logan.
Logan, that has the potential to be some pretty scary stuff.
It does, Gage. It really does. And
Puerto Rico is facing a new problem in the wake of a recent string of hurricanes. Sunday brought new issues to the nation's capital when a power substation failed, leaving many of the residents and San Juan in the dark. The government in Puerto Rico is asking the American government and FEMA for $4.6 billion in emergency aids to help aid relief.
some more scary stuff coming out of Napa as massive wildfires took over Napa and Sonoma counties in California. The fires destroyed an unknown number of homes and businesses, forcing evacuation of thousands of people and shutting down major roadways. There is currently no estimation of damages or injuries. There is also no explanation on how these wildfires started.
Harvey Weinstein, the founder of the major film company The Weinstein Company, was recently fired by the board of his company in light of sexual assault allegations. The 65-year-old film producer was accused of sexually assaulting female employees within the company that date back for almost 3 decades. Weinstein has played a role in feature films such as Pulp Fiction, The King's Speech, and Shakespeare in Love. A bizarre story out of Michigan that makes one woman's fear a reality. A woman was raped in 2008 when she was only 12 years old. Now she's 21, and the man that raped her was just granted joint custody over the child. Christopher Mearsolo was charged with third-degree felony for attempted rape and only served 6.5 months in prison. Mearsolo was charged again in March of 2010 for another separate sexual assault case.
A student in Houston sued her school district after claiming that her constitutional rights were violated. The student named India Landry refused to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. She said it was because she didn't, quote, "The flag is what it says. It's for liberty and justice and all that," end quote. The principal changed her mind and she is now allowed to sit for the pledge.
Vice President Mike Pence was at the Indianapolis Colts and San Francisco 49ers game, but walked out before the game even started. Players from the Dallas Cowboys dropped to one knee during the national anthem, and Pence walked out. The vice president took to social media after the game and tweeted, quote, "I left today's Colts game because POTUS and I will not dignify any event that disrespects our soldiers, our flag, or our national anthem." President Donald Trump and his administration released a series of immigration principles Sunday that will make waves in Congress. The administration included details about funding for a wall that will span the United States-Mexico border, curbs on federal grants to sanctuary cities, and a crackdown on the influx of Central American minors. Trump's latest release is likely to have an effect on Congress's work to help keep thousands of undocumented minors stay in the country legally.
Republican Senator Bob Corker became the latest Republican senator to criticize the president for his statements on and offline. The two got into a fight on Twitter. This all started because Senator Bob Corker said the president denied him an endorsement. The president then attacked the senator on Twitter and claimed that he would endorse the senator. The White House claims that the senator has never asked for an endorsement.
The tension between the United States and Turkey raised even more Sunday after both nations released they were revoking most visitor visas between the two feuding nations. The crisis was fueled by the U.S. Embassy in Ankara, the capital of Turkey, which announced it was suspending all non-immigrant visa services.
If you're interested in watching more RMU TV, be sure to check out the whole lineup show throughout the week.
On November 3rd in Hopwood Auditorium, Robert Morris University, join me, Don Luisi, for Bringing the Blues to RMU. This is a live event featuring Pittsburgh's Queen of the Blues, Jill West, and Blues Attack. Along with a screening of Blues Chronicles from the Berg, 3 short documentary profiles of Pittsburgh blues legends Eugene Morgan, Bill Weiner, and Jill West. This tribute to the blues is sponsored by the Blues Society of Western Pennsylvania, the Academic Media Center, and RMU Radio. That's Bringing the Blues to RMU. Friday, November 3rd at 5 p.m., Hopwood Auditorium, Robert Morris University. Admission is free to the public.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, that can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back to RMU Live. Here's the latest updates in the world of sports. The Steelers took on the Jaguars at home this past Sunday in a game that they would like to forget. The final score was 30-9 in favor of the Jaguars, who got their third win on the road with Blake Bortles as quarterback. The passing defense for the Steelers held the Jaguars to just 95 yards total. Leonard Fournette finished the game with 181 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Having just as many touchdowns for the Jaguars was Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, who threw 5 interceptions, with 2 of them being pick sixes. It is statistically the worst game of his career. That game against the Jaguars is also just the second time the Steelers have lost by more than 20 points at home with Ben Roethlisberger as quarterback. That is the best mark in the league in that time frame. The Penguins kicked off their season to a fast 1-1-1 start that is worth 3 points on the year. The first game of the season was a 5-4 loss in overtime to the St. Louis Blues. They then followed that performance up with a 10-1 loss to the Chicago Blackhawks. Their first win of the season was against the Nashville Predators. The final score was 4-0. Sidney Crosby and Brian Rust both had 2 assists. The goals were scored by Olli Mata, Evgeny Malkin, Jake Gensel, and Ryan Reeves. Reeves also had 2 fights in the game. The Robert Morris Colonials football team took on East Tennessee State in their last non-conference game of the season. The Colonials fell to the Buccaneers by a score of 16-3. In the game, Jimmy Walker had 186 yards passing, and Harrison Dreyer had 66 yards rushing on 15 carries. That is good for an average of 4.4 yards per carry. Robert Morris University finished their non-conference schedule with a record of 2-3. They will start conference play on Saturday against Duquesne. That game will be at 6 p.m. and will be broadcasted on ESPN3. The Pittsburgh Panthers took on the Syracuse Orange on Saturday. The Panthers fell to the Orange by a score of 27-24. Starting quarterback Max Brown exited the game with an injury. He will be out a couple weeks. The Panthers now sit 2-4 in the year and winless in ACC play. They will take on NC State on Saturday. The MLB postseason is in full swing. Today there are 3 elimination games. The first game is at 1:08 p.m., and that will be the Houston Astros taking on the Boston Red Sox. The Astros lead the series 2-1. At 4:08 p.m., the Washington Nationals will be taking on the Chicago Cubs. That series tied 1-1. Game 4 of the New York Yankees and Cleveland Indians will commence at 7:08 p.m., with the Indians looking to close that series. And finally, the Los Angeles Dodgers look to sweep the Arizona Diamondbacks as that game takes place at 10:08 p.m. That's all that went on in the sports world. Now I'm going to send it to Morgan with the weather.
Well, if any of you were outside this morning, you know how uncomfortable it was with the humidity. And that's due to the humidity being a shockingly 92%. Even though the temperature was 72, with a high of 76 and a low of 60, the humidity did not help anybody. And for tomorrow, the humidity is expected to still stay very high with a percent of 71%. The chance of rain is at a 40%, with a high of 76 and a low of 60. And then for the rest of the week, we are expected to see Tropical Depression Nate come in Wednesday, and the temperatures are supposed to stay in the 70s, with the skies varying. Back to you, Logan and Gage.
When we come back, we will tell you why the rapper Nelly was arrested.
The NRA won't back the bill against bump stocks. We'll find out why coming up.
I thought the conversation just got dumber. Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you. She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze.
Help up the hand.
Ah, there you go.
Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, Zane!
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Want to help in the aftermath of a hurricane? Together, you and I can really help. I am fast and versatile. I can be whatever is needed. To help you provide important relief when it's most critical. If you want to lend a hand, I can help you reach out and truly touch lives. Even a small donation can make a big difference.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Tonight, along the Texas Gulf Coast, utter devastation. Harvey barreled ashore overnight, packing 130-mile-an-hour winds, blinding sheets of rain, and a treacherous storm surge.
Harvey can't mess with Texas. So donate now to help make Texas whole again.
"25-year-old Army Sergeant Walla David Johnson was identified as the 4th service member killed in an ambush in Niger on Wednesday, confirmed the disease department. Johnson's group was attacked near the Niger-Mali border by up to 50 fighters that are believed to be working with ISIS. The group was ambushed while in an unarmed pickup truck. They immediately left the truck and returned fire. They did manage to kill some of the fighters. It was then that Johnson was separated. His body was found 48 hours later by Nigerian forces.
The nominees for the class of 2018 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame were announced. Fans get the next 2 months to decide on the class and vote online. This year's class includes Bon Jovi, Radiohead, Nina Simone, and more. The pop singer Nelly was arrested last week after being accused of raping a woman on his tour bus. The singer was arrested by police in Auburn, Alabama, after a woman called emergency services. Nelly took to Twitter to express his innocence, tweeting, quote, "I'm completely innocent. I am confident that once the facts are looked at, it will be very clear that I am the victim of a false allegation," end quote. The singer is scheduled to continue touring with country band Florida Georgia Line.
After criticizing the bump stock that was used by the shooter in the horrific Las Vegas attack, the CEO of the NRA refused to back a bill that would support a ban on such equipment. The NRA is in public support of putting restrictions as long as they don't include an outright ban on the bump stock. A man was driving down the road when he saw what appeared to be a deer. As he got closer, he discovered it was 15-year-old kidnapped victim Jasmine Block. The man, who is named Earl Merchant, saved the girl and gave her the $7,000 reward. Ms. Block was abducted by 3 people back in August. Earl Merchant is a true hero.
Recreational marijuana sales will begin in 3 states next year. It's already for sale in 5 states, but California, Massachusetts, and Maine will be added to the list. California is aiming to open retail marijuana stores by January 1st. Roles included in these stores are licensing and background checks for distributors and safety and education training for consumers. That's all we have for RMU Live this afternoon.
We will see you next week.